Hello, hope you're all well. Today I'm going to service a watch that is not exactly vintage, but it's a modern classic. Rolex Explorer, pretty straightforward watch. Customer has asked me to freshen up his case, polish it. So I'm not really big on polishing, I'm not an expert, but he's entrusted me to get rid of this dent on the side and basically brighten up the bezel. So we'll also recreate the finish on the lugs, and yeah, we'll give it our best shot and see how it goes. If I completely muck it up, we'll have to send it to reflect it in the US, but I think we can do this. That'd be fine. And the same goes for the bracelet. We'll give that a nice brushed finish again. Yeah, well, I'm going to start by removing the bracelets, and we're going to have a look at the movement and take it apart. So we have a calibre 3130, which is a good workhorse movement from Rolex. Very nice, I do like these. And the case reference is 2080, in case anyone was wondering. I'm going to now take this apart in time lapse, and then we'll put it back together in real time. Again, it's kind of one of these movements. You can get some parts for these. There's some generic manufacturing of parts. Rolex do restrict their parts to people who are accredited. Unfortunately, I am not accredited, but I do not have the £100,000 or so you'll need in form of equipment and whatnot to do it. The same job as what I can do with what I have now. I really don't like this Swiss parts monopoly going on with Swatch Group and Rolex and several other brands, but it is what it is, and hopefully Cousins can beat them in court. Cousins is a parts supplier in the UK, and they've taken Swatch to court, and they've been in Switzerland, and of course the Swiss judge has sided with the Swatch Group, but now it's come to still in the UK courts, and the story is quite different there. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get Swatch to have to supply spare parts again. Fingers crossed. One thing I've noticed, I don't know if you can pick up the sound. I'm going to turn this off. Has a bit of a strange sound going on in the auto winding mechanism. I don't like the sound of that. I'll just have to take it apart and see if I can see anything. We might need new reverser wheels on this, and that is usually quite pricey because, you know, Rolex. There we have a free moving balance. Always good to test that after cleaning and fitting the cap jewels. I prefer doing this before anything else, because if you put the gear train in and you're fitting the gap balance and it's not working right, at least you can eliminate it, say balance not moving freely. So good place to start. Really cool construction on these this balance bridge here. You've got two adjuster posts on each side, so you can adjust the end shake of the pivots. Well, you adjust actually the bridge sides, but you adjust the end shake. So very cool construction. I think I mentioned it earlier. It does have two adjustment screws on the balance. That's how you go faster and slower. You got a special tool for that, and you adjust the beat error here by loosening this screw. Very nice construction, all you would like and want in a watch balance. So now I'm going to take the balance off and we can start putting the base movement back together. First thing we're going to do is fit the center pinion. A little bit of grease there. I'm going to prep the balance bridge as well. Put a little drop of grease there, and I'm going to put a little drop of grease. Not grease, I'm talking about oil, of course. Into this jewel, and the center wheel here. So we're going to start by putting the center wheel pinion in, as I said. There we go. And a little droplet of oil on the side there. Now I'm going to fit the barrel and the second wheel. Second, as not in the second hand, but the second drivetrain wheel. Get the gear train in place. Always a good idea to check the pivots under the microscope, make sure everything is in place before you tighten the screws on the bridge. Just as I said that, I saw the bridge lift up a bit and the escape wheel pivot had fallen out of place. So I just realigned that, and I'm happy. So you saw I just fitted the crown wheel, which lies on the underside of his own little bridge. Very nicely made. Now I'm going to fit the hacking lever that comes in here. And now we can put the bridge on the base movement. So we've got this little wig-wag wheel coming, well, there's the intermediate ratchet wheel here and then intermediate ratchet wheel here. This one's kind of wig-wag, so it disengages when the auto winder is engaged. So you have an intermediate wheel here, you've got this little bridge coming on top here. I'm now going to oil the movement. I'm going to do that under the microscope, and then we're going to fit the winding and setting mechanism. First thing I'm going to do is fit the clutch pinion, also known as cannon pinion. There's good friction in that. Might as well put a little bit of oil on the pillars that will have wheels on them, the intermediate winding and setting wheels. Going to put some grease on the winding pinion. That's not the winding pinion, that is the winding stem. I'll put a little bit, now I'm going to put a little bit on the winding pinion there, on the engaging kind of teeth here. Here's the sliding pinion. Pretty much everywhere that slides and gauges, a little bit of grease is not a bad idea. It's the yoke spring, that's the yoke. On top of that we have the setting lever. Tiny bit of grease in there. Might as well take a tiny bit of grease in here. And a tiny bit of grease on this. This little pin engages with the, there we go. I don't know if you can see that down there, but that engages with the hacking lever, like so. And this lever in here engages with the yoke. Very nice, straightforward construction. Now we got the intermediate winding wheel. Come back. Is here. Got the intermediate hour wheel. Here. Now we have, so I can put it in now or later, but let's see, we'll put this down. There's a little bridge that holds the tension spring here that holds the setting lever in place. You see all the cutout for the date mechanism here. Usually very nice date on these watches, but that's not on this movement because it's a non-date version. Setting lever spring. A little bit of grease on that. So we have winding, setting. So you have another intermediate wheel on the underside here. Put that little bridge in. Come back here, you. There we go. Make sure the wheels engage. Next, we're going to fit the pallet fork and the pallet fork bridge. Quite a delicate part, as you can imagine. I'm going to line this up under the microscope, under the bridge, and then we'll secure the screws. When that's done, we can oil up the pallet jewels and disperse the oil onto the escape wheel. Okay, now everything's in place. Let's see if we can get this watch ticking again. Okay, I missed that impulse pin. Let's try again. You want this little impulse pin on the roller here to engage in the fork as you come down into the jewel hole. You've got to come in the opposite way, well, from where the fork is facing, and let that pin go into place like so. Lovely. Good stuff. Very happy with that. Let's take it on the time graph and see how she performs. All right, dial down, 292 amplitude. Very happy with that. Well, settling at 285. Fair enough. +7. Let's turn it around to dial up position. +6. That's good. 276. That's fine. Happy with that. Do crown down position. Goes to about, I'd say, +2. See, 269 amplitude on the side, 250 on the side. That's fine. +3. A little bit more of a beat error. No, happy with that. Good happy stuff. With the performance, so I'm going to go ahead and fit the dial and hands. We have this little bridge that comes on top of it all, like so. Very nice of Rolex to make some nice blued screws to let me know they are for this bridge. I do like Rolex screws, they're usually very nicely made. This bridge is of course the thickness of a date mechanism, and so you can use the same case for a movement with a date as without a date. Don't quote me on that, that's just my assumption. Another thing we can do is put the auto winder back together. So we'll start with putting the oscillating weight at the bottom. We're going to make a little sandwich. We'll drop a little oil here and here. First we have this bridge. Then we add our reverser wheels. See in the photo earlier, they have been dipped in epilam, which is a film that keeps oil from sticking to it. And these two reverser wheels come in here. We have a pinion that goes on to the rotor post. A little click that holds it all in place. We also have this little plate to lock it in place. So. Auto winder driving wheel that engages with the ratchet wheel. And then we have 3 screws that hold this assembly together. Movement in the case. So on Rolex cases like this, you have the case screw. You unscrew them until it starts tightening up against the case back. Like so. Next we have the bridge assembly. You auto wind the bridge assembly. So, auto winder mechanism, it's got 2 screws. I've oiled the lower side of that intermediate winding wheel. This auto winder was sticky when I took it apart, and there was lots of dirt in there. After cleaning it and treating it with epilam, it seems to be working as it should again. So, fingers crossed that will hold. As Rolex restricts parts to independence, it's not impossible to get a hold of, but they're pricey, so we're trying to keep the cost down. That's why we've done it like this. Very nice. Last thing to fit is the case back gasket, and we can screw the case back on. I like these movements. I wish I could work on a couple every week. I don't have them that often, but they're very straightforward usually and nice to work on. Nicely made, robust, nice finishes. Of course, it's not the, it's slightly industrial, but for being a mass-produced movement, these are really, really nicely made. So yeah, if you got one that needs a service and you want to take the risk of having me work on it, please send it over. Let's get the case back on. So you might have noticed that the case is a little shinier than it was before. We have given it a quick case polish, gotten the worst of the dents out, try and keep it light, not go too heavy on it. I tried my best to keep all the original details. For example, you can see in the shine here, I got a tiny bit of a notch under there, and to get 100%, I would need to get a micro welder. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm sure the customer will provide new scratches and dents on this before that's ever a concern. But yeah, if I get a micro welder one day, I'm definitely going to go ahead and touch up these details as well. But you got to be careful. You really don't want to be removing material. I'm happy to buff and kind of massage and blend the metal together, but so what you want to do is like fold over you want to get the surfaces so hot that you move the metal over the scratches, so you're burnishing it rather than polishing it off. So, and when you do that around the corners of bezels and stuff, you've got to be very careful you don't make it wonky or out of shape. But it's good enough for me without the micro welder for the time being, because it's a bit of an investment. But I think this turned out pretty nice. It's a lovely watch. I would definitely not mind an Explorer. I used to have an Explorer once, but it was way too valuable for me to keep, and I had other things to use that money on. I'd rather have a car than a watch, but if you can afford both a car and a watch, then an Explorer is pretty good. Until next time, hope you have a good one.